Hi everybody, it's Stephanie, and today we are going to be learning about tinfoil art. So if you missed class last week, this is what we will be doing. We're actually going to be doing two projects today. So the things that you will need is tinfoil, and it can even be recycled tinfoil, it can be new tinfoil, it can be scrunched, or it can be shiny and new. So any of that kind of stuff works. You'll need a pair of scissors, you'll need some glue, and you'll need some markers. I have found that sharpies work a little bit better than regular markers, but regular markers also work, so you could use those as well, and then a piece of paper. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your aluminum foil, or I mean your tin foil, same thing, and you're going to cut it into your favorite shape. So you can take your tin foil and cut it into whatever shape that you want. So go ahead and make your shape. So here I just did a square, well, kind of a rectangle square. And then tinfoil is pretty sturdy, right? If you pull on it, it's pretty sturdy, but it can also rip pretty easily. So you want to be a little bit careful with it. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of paper, and it can be any size piece of paper. It could be a short one, big one, any size you want, any color that you want, any color that you have. And you'll take your glue, and you're going to put your glue on your paper, and then you will add your tin foil to it. And then you can put it on the edges and make sure all the edges stay down. But you'll just attach your tin foil to your paper by putting the glue on first. That makes it so it doesn't rip the tin foil when you're putting it on. Once you have that done, so on this one I did a diamond, you're going to pick any color you want. We're going to be making flowers today, but you can really do any design that you want on these. So I did a pink middle on this. You're just going to do a circle for the middle. Once you're done with that, we're going to have two different kinds of hearts that you can choose from. So this is more of a traditional flower. So these are raindrop designs around the middle. And then this one are triangles around the flower. And this is more like a mandala design. So there's two different kinds of flowers that you can work with today. So you're either going to draw triangles or raindrop shapes. And you're going to do it all the way around. So here's one started. And you're just going to take some time to do the design all the way around. So you're creating a flower, and you can have as many petals as you want because you're the artist and I believe in you. So pick the colors that you want for your flower. Then as soon as you're done with that, you'll go ahead and you can draw a squiggly line with some leaves on it, and that will give you your flower shape. Or if you wanted to do this design, these are just lines and circles all the way around it. So again, you get to design that to be the flower that you want. Once you're done with that, you will then put a frame around it. So this is like vines around it, which I thought went kind of fun with this kind of flower. And then there's also this kind of frame where I just did a line around it and then I colored in the outside. And so really the possibilities again are limitless on what you want your frame to look like. Maybe you want to draw little dinosaurs all the way around it, or maybe you want to do squares or just lines, or maybe you just want to color a straight solid line across it. It's really up to you to add that finishing touch and what kind of design you want on your tinfoil art. So there's the examples of those. And then the other project that we're doing today is just going to be using the scraps. So when you were cutting out your circle or whatever shape you decided, you're going to have all of these random scrap pieces left, right? Or again, you can get out new aluminum foil. So for this project, we're going to be creating 3D tinfoil art. So see how that pops off on there? So this is a really fun project too. So what you're going to do when you have these scraps is you're going to cut out a rectangle. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. So even if you had a piece of paper like this, You want to kind of make it a rectangle shape. This shape works also. Because what you're going to do is you're going to fold it. So fold it down. And this is going to create the petal of your sculpture that you're creating, your 3D art. So then you're creating just another small rectangle, and see how it is inside. You can see that there's a couple of layers in there. And then again, if you wanted to do this one, same technique, you're just going to fold it. This is easier to fold on the table than in the air. And you'll have some layers in there. And again, it's really about the shape that you want for your petal. So once you have this shape, you're going to take the end and you're going to squish it. Okay? So this forms the bottom part of the petal. So you can leave it like this if you want, and you're giving yourself kind of more of that triangle shape that we learned about in our last petals. Or if you want to fold these back, it gives you more of the raindrop shape. And these are really fun. You can just kind of mold these and sculpt them into any design you want. Some of the students made some really cool wide shaped ones. So, you know, if you wanted to have like a bigger rectangle, you could do that, and you could even make some bigger petals, you know, so like this size versus this size. It really depends on you as the artist what you want to do. So typically you would make about 5 petals. So you have a bunch of these petals created, right? And again, it's really up to you, you know, what size shape you want them to look like, and just working with it almost like it's clay. You're just gonna sit and form it. Once you have those made, you're going to pick out a color of your markers again and decide what color do you want the petals to be. And it can be anything. So this was pink, or you can even draw on them. So there's a flower on a flower, there's some stripes, some shading. So there's all different, you know, really fun things that you can do with that design. Once you have your petals colored, you can also decide if you want to do the back. So on this one, I just left them silver, kind of made a two-tone look to them. But maybe you want your petals to be colored on the front and the back. So that will be a really fun decision, and you can even do different colors or shapes or all sorts of fun things. The next thing that you're going to do is to take another scrap piece of paper, and you're just going to color a circle on it. This will be the center of your flower. Okay? And then the next step that you're going to do is just take a piece of tin foil, and you're just going to cut it a thin strip. And it can be as long as you want, as wide as you want, and this is what will create your stem. So on mine, I thought it was fun to do kind of a little curve, but you could have it doing any shape that you would like. You'll go ahead and color that also. And then the last part of the tinfoil shaping will be cutting out leaves. And maybe you don't want leaves, maybe you do. So I did kind of a more traditional leaf on mine, which is almost like an oval shape, but it just has points on the two ends of it. So that will be really fun to do. Then you're going to color that also. Once you're done coloring everything, you're going to take your glue and you'll just glue the center on, and then you're just going to glue the tips of the flower petals on. So you're going to make sure that you're only doing a little bit of glue on this very bottom part, so that way you can fold this top part and curve it, or however you want to shape your flowers. So see how on this one you could actually, you know, manipulate that to fold it or move it or shape it how you want. The next thing that you'll do with your glue is gluing on your stem. And you can glue it again in any shape or design that you want, however long you want, and then you'll glue on your leaves. I did the same technique with my leaves that I did with the petals, where I left the tops of them not taped on. So I gave them a really cool kind of curved look to them. So you could, you know, you could even put it in a, flatten it together, make it a half of one, or you could open it back up. There's all sorts of really fun designs that you can do with that. So I hope that you have fun. I had a really great time playing with the different techniques on tinfoil, and I hope you guys have a great time too. Thanks everyone.